you mentioned that you're a coach,
Yeah.
and I mean, obviously, yeah, seeing with races canceled this year and somebody finishes just anything, that's got to be rewarding. Are there just, I mean, you don't have to mention names, but like, can you give me an example or two of a story that just really made you feel really good as a coach?
I have a great one. I have multiple of them, and I got to tell you, coaching has been almost as rewarding, if not more rewarding, than running has been. And I've only been doing it for about a year. I mean, it's funny. I almost feel like if whatever story I tell, I'm going to leave out the other good stories. So I feel like I'm going to insult one of my athletes. But I'm just going to tell the most recent one, which is a lady reached out to me about a month and a half ago, and she's like, I'm a truck driver. She drives all across the country, 48 states. She's from Texas. She came to run with me one day up in New England. So she drives, and you think about that, think about the lifestyle and how it is to run. How do you fit running into that lifestyle? You never know where you're going to sleep at night. You pull into a truck stop. You never know what kind of neighborhood you're in. You got to find a place to run. And she is one tough lady. She is incredibly tough. And so what we do with our athletes is most people do, you give some kind of test. And for her we test her in the mile. So she ran a mile about a month and a half ago. And she has this sort of mental block about running fast. Like, she doesn't think she can do it. She doesn't think, she runs a lot, she says, and she just has trouble getting faster. And so we talked about that, and we worked a lot on it. We worked a lot on doing some speed work. We worked on her cadence because it was very, very slow. But she's been building that up. She's got knee problems too. And she went out on Sunday, so yesterday, and she improved her mile time by almost 2 minutes in her 1 mile, her best mile, which is insane. And it's now, she was close to like 14 and a half minutes with her mile, and she was like 12:42. And the pride I have in just her kind of overcoming that. And I think she feels like she was holding herself back a little bit, which is kind of like that mental aspect of coaching too, that you have to kind of talk that out of people, that their performance is there, it's there. And for some people in running, it's like you've been told all your life, oh, you're not a runner, you don't have a runner's body, you're not, you don't have the athletic background, or you're not fast. And for her to kind of go out and overcome that, and all of a sudden, like, put up a time that is super respectable, I think it's so rewarding as a coach. But even more so, like, it's just the fun of watching someone improve so quickly in such a short amount of time, and really just overcome that mental, I'm not an athlete, what am I doing here? And to all of a sudden be like, wait, I kind of belong in this circle. Like, this is great. And it was just amazing to see. And it's just an amazing experience. And I've had multiple of those throughout other athletes. Like I said, I feel like I'm holding stories back because, and again, I'm going to get a call. I know who's going to call me. Why didn't you tell my story? Sorry, Aaron. All right. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. How did you get into coaching? Was it something that you kind of always wanted to pursue?
So interestingly enough, I coached football when I was younger, and it kind of got in the way of my career, and I had to kind of give it up. I love doing it. I always loved being a coach and mentor. I love that aspect of it. I never felt, though, like I had the running background. And, I ran that first marathon in 2014. I then went on to do an Ironman in 2017. I did a few of those. And I used to end my podcast with a tagline, and I'm going to forget it. It was like, when it comes to running, I'm no expert. I'm just ordinary, which ordinary marathoner. So it was like a nice way to kind of end the podcast.
Yeah.
But I think over the course of 3 years of podcasting, talking to a lot of experts, talking to a lot of people that, having a lot of guests on my show, a lot of people with great experience, a lot of people who know what they're talking about, I slowly became an expert by default. So my tagline no longer made sense. And after I finished a few Ironman races, I'm like, man, what would be even cooler is being able to kind of share that experience with other people and help them achieve what I always wanted to achieve and got to achieve. So I went and I got certified one weekend. It was kind of like it was a sort of I don't know. I was just sitting in the living room. I'm like, you know what? I should be a coach. And my wife's like, yeah, you should be a coach. And I'm like, let me look into these courses. And I looked online, and oh, there's one in Arizona, which is like a 4-hour flight. There's one in Arizona this weekend. She's like, why don't you go? And when your wife tells you go, you don't give it 1 second, right? Because she's going to change her
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
So you go. So I went for a weekend. I sat there and talked to all the Ironman coaches and all the triathlon coaches. And it was just a great community to be around, a great group of people. Very inspiring. And I took that certification and got the certification and started coaching some friends and my wife and her friend. I coached to a marathon, and all of a sudden you start coaching people and the word starts getting out, and a couple people call, and I met someone on Zwift just riding on indoor bike rides, and I coach her, and then our community kind of has been growing, and now I got probably about a half dozen athletes that I'm coaching, and it's growing. I have more coming on board as they get closer and closer to their events. So it's been pretty cool, a great experience. I love doing it. And it's almost, like I said, it's almost, in ways, it's almost more rewarding than being the athlete when you watch them succeed. It's like, it's like watching your kid grow up or something. It's incredible.
Well said. So like ordinary marathoner just was a slogan.
Yeah.
And then
It was me. I thought of it as me. It was my podcast. And I just thought, what a kind of a neat name, and I thought of it as me. I'm just an ordinary guy. I was never a runner. I was an athlete growing up. I played football and baseball in college. And then one day, they take that away from you, right? You wake up and there's no more games and there's no more practices.
Right.
And you for some of us, we get ingrained in work and we're stuck behind the cubicle all day, and we forget what it's like to be competitive athletically. And we forget what it's like to work out and have that discipline that you have to go to the gym all the time, or you got to go to practice. And then for me to have that 1 year where I just kind of turned my life around, lost a ton of weight. I wound up losing 70 pounds and running a marathon when I never thought I could ever do that. I didn't think it was for people like me. So, and then I just felt like I was an ordinary person, thus ordinary marathoner. It kind of worked out. And the URL wasn't taken, so I grabbed it. We have our Facebook group, Ordinary Marathoners. I'm on Twitter at Ord Marathoner, ORD Marathoner. I couldn't fit ordinary in there. It's like 2 characters too short. So I went with Ord Marathoner, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. We have a team called Team Ordinary that you can find at teamordinary.com. And lately we've been doing every other Friday. And Friday this week we have one. We've been doing some Zoom meetings with some speakers, having a speaker come on, be it a coach or a dietitian, motivational speakers. We have a guy named John Martin coming on. He's a local guy to here. He's a motivational speaker, super serious guy. He'll set you straight kind of thing. Sometimes I feel like I need that. Probably now is one of those times for me. So I'm looking forward to having him on. It's a free thing. You just have to register on Zoom. We'll have links to it and stuff on our Facebook group. Love to see you there.